Hi, this video is an in-depth comparison of the Acer Predator Helios 300 and Asus ROG Strix Scar II. This is an interesting comparison since we can call each of these laptops the best in its category. Despite I find these laptops very different from each other, there are many people who ask which one is better choice, so if you're one of them, this video is for you. As always, in the video description you can find Amazon links for US and UK residents to check the current price and the timestamps to skip to any part of this video. I'm Chris from TechFindsReview.com and now let's jump into the comparison. This time at the beginning I would like to mention that the units that I've got here have different specs. The Helios 300 features the GTX 1060 and the Scar is equipped with RTX 2070. However, the design, build and features are the same for every configuration of Scar II, so if you're considering this laptop with other specs, you can easily compare it with Predator watching this video. For the performance comparison you can check out my gaming benchmark video performed on the Asus ROG Strix Scar II with GTX 1060. Alright, so if it comes to design I prefer the look of the Asus Scar II. It has no red accents and no fancy shapes at all. The top panel is metal with brushed aluminum texture and the ROG logo that you can light up with RGB colors. The rest of the body is made of polycarbonate that feels very solid. On the deck you can find carbon fiber pattern with more skin on one half. The characteristic thing for Scar II is the light bar on the front of the laptop which you can customize in the software. The Predator looks like a typical gaming laptop. It's all black with red accents and the Predator logo in the middle. The slight advantage of the Predator is that it has metal top panel and deck which gives it more premium feel. I like the brushed aluminum texture on the metal parts and a nice looking silver trim that goes around the body and around the touchpad. Inside, both laptops look like the gaming machines, but I prefer the look of the Scar. Despite the Moro skin, I think that it looks cleaner. It has a nice looking keyboard, black touchpad and no red accents. In Predator you can find the red color on WSAD keys and touchpad, as same as on the sticker from Acer. If it comes to dimensions, the Scar II is noticeably smaller thanks to thin bezel display. It's also a little bit lighter, so if the portability is important to you, the Scar is a winner. Alright, let's take a look inside. The Scar II has a good looking and well functional keyboard with long 1.8mm key travel and good spacing. The lighting is divided into 4 zones, and what I like the most about that is that every key has the transparent stroke, so you can see more light coming out of the keyboard. The useful feature that it has is the overstroke technology, which registers the key press before you actually press the key all the way down. You have also 4 additional keys for volume, microphone and control center up. The keyboard in Predator is good enough and I had no complaints, but since this is a comparison I have to point out that it lacks features compared to Scar's keyboard. It has only red backlight and no even additional key for control center up. Nonetheless, it feels good. The keys have 1.2mm travel distance and good spacing. If it comes to touchpads, the Scar II is my choice. It has smooth surface and 2 dedicated buttons that are easy to press. It uses Windows Precision drivers, so it's got good gestures and tracking. The Predator's touchpad uses Windows Precision drivers too, so you can take advantage of the gesture controls as well. It is bigger and it has smooth surface but no dedicated buttons here. There is a clicking mechanism under the touchpad panel for right and left click, but it requires much more force to click. If it comes to port selection, I think that Scar is a better option. It has newer and faster USB ports and a mini DisplayPort which the Predator is missing. However, no Thunderbolt 3 support in both laptops. The display in Asus Scar II is 1080p 144Hz IPS panel with 3 ms response time. It doesn't support G-Sync, but it's the smoothest 144Hz display that I've seen so far. The Predator's display is also 1080p 144Hz IPS panel with slightly longer response time. The G-Sync is not available here too, but the display is fairly smooth and fast enough for gaming nowadays. You have also 17-inch models of this laptop, so if you want bigger screen you can check them out. The color accuracy is almost the same for both laptops. The Scar II can reproduce 97% of sRGB color gamut, 75% of Adobe RGB, and the brightness is 329 nits. For Predator, the sRGB color coverage is 98%, 76% for Adobe RGB, and the brightness is 300 nits. However, I found that Scar's display has colder tones to the colors. In terms of sound, the Scar II is a definite winner since it has the best sounding speakers out there ever. Every shot and every explosion in game sounds full and punchy thanks to strong bass. Mids and highs are just on point and it's loud enough. You can equalize the sound in Sonic Studio 3 software. The speakers in Predator are pretty standard for a gaming laptop. They have some bass and the sound is fairly loud without distortion on higher volumes. Alright, let's quickly mention other configurations of both laptops since you might be interested with other specs according to your needs. I also prepared a list with approximated prices of both laptops, but please note that the prices may vary with time. So in the video description I left Amazon links for US and UK residents to find the configuration that suits you best and check the current price. So if it comes to Scar II, you can choose between full-size GTX 1060, 1070 and also RTX 2060 and 2070. It's a good time to get some GTX models now, since because of the RTX update the prices of GTX models dropped down. Nonetheless, the RTX models of Scar II show a good price to performance ratio compared to other gaming laptops. In some countries the Scar II might not be available with GTX 1060 and RTX 2070, but there is a MOBA version of this laptop called Hero 2. It's basically the same laptop, but instead of transparent WSAD keys, it has transparent QWER keys and different pattern instead of Moro on the deck. Worth mentioning is that Asus recently released Scar III with new design and features, but I don't find it much better in terms of performance. The 2018 model of Acer Predator Helios 300 comes only with the GTX 1060 and GTX 1050 Ti. The GTX 1060 model is well known for the best price to performance ratio among budget gaming laptops, but if you need more graphical power, you have the next generation of Helios 300 with the GTX 1660 Ti and RTX 2060 to choose. Subscribe my channel and click notification bell if you don't wanna miss the review. The price of GTX 1660 Ti model is only $1200 now, and as we all know from the previous generations it often go on sale, so stay tuned. Alright, coming back to the review, let's talk about performance. Here I'm gonna talk about the GTX 1060 Scar II that I have recently tested since it's got the same specs as my Predator. In general, the performance is similar, but the Scar has much better cooling system, which may help to reach few more FPS in games. Here is a quick preview of the game performance, but if you want more details you can check out my gaming benchmark videos for the Asus Scar II and Acer Predator Helios 300 separately. I tested 20 games on both laptops, so I think that this will clarify a lot of questions about performance. Links to the videos will be in the description. Now if you would like to upgrade Predator down the road, you have easy access to your RAM and hard drive. It comes with dual channel 16GB RAM, which I think is a sweet spot nowadays, but it's harder to upgrade since both slots are occupied. The Scar II comes with single and dual channel RAM configurations. If you buy it in the USA, you will most likely get the single channel one, but my unit has dual channel since I bought it in the UK. With single channel RAM you have better way to upgrade the memory in the future, but it performs slower than the same amount of RAM in dual channel. So if you want to take full advantage of the performance of this laptop, I recommend you to add one more RAM stick. I made a quick guide where I am showing you how to disassemble and upgrade each laptop, so if you're planning to add more RAM, swap out your hard drive or SSD, you can check it out. Okay, so now let's talk about cooling system. I tested both laptops playing demanding games for a long period of time to simulate the way that you will probably use your laptop. In general, the Scar II has better cooling system than Predator, and it's actually one of the best among laptops that I've tested. There was no thermal and no power limit throttling during my test. The average temperature of the CPU was 82 degrees Celsius and the GPU temperature was 74 degrees. In Predator, power limit throttling didn't occur, but the thermal throttling took place. However, it was not happening often, and when it did, the frame rate drop in games was not huge. The average temperature of the CPU was 88 degrees Celsius, and the temperature of the GPU was 77 degrees. To keep the temperatures below 90 degrees Celsius, undervolting is highly recommended for this laptop. The fan noise is slightly louder in Predator, but it's still comfortably quiet. While gaming it gets loud as every gaming laptop, but the Scar is slightly louder under heavy load. However, on idle and silent mode enabled, it stays completely quiet. As for the battery life, I managed to use Asus for 4.5 up to 5 hours when browsing the web and doing light productivity work. When gaming, battery died after 1.5 hours. The Predator was a little bit behind. It ran 4 hours and 10 minutes when light work and 1 hour when gaming. Alright, it seems to be everything that you need to know to wisely choose one of these laptops, but before we finish, let me share my closing thoughts. So if it comes to the Scar II, I think that this laptop is for those who are looking for solid performance at low temperatures. It has great cooling system, which is one of the best among 15-inch laptops. The display in Scar is the fastest and smoothest 144Hz panel that I've seen so far. It has good color reproduction, remarkable speakers, and useful keyboard with additional keys. The advantage of Scar II is for sure a good price to performance and quality ratio. It's not the cheapest out there, but in my opinion it's worth the price since Asus made no compromises in terms of performance and overall quality of this laptop. Worth mentioning is that the prices of GTX models dropped down, so now it gives you even better bang for your buck. Trying to find the weak sides of this laptop, I have to point out no G-Sync support, no Thunderbolt 3 and awkward webcam placement. On the other hand, we have the Acer Predator Helios 300, which is on the top of the budget gaming laptops segment. You can buy it for only $999, and for that price you get the GTX 1060 with i7-8750H processor, 144Hz display with good color reproduction and solid metal build. For a comparison, the Scar II with the same specs cost about $1,350, so if you want to get the maximum performance for your buck, the Predator is the way to go. The downside here is that the Helios 300 runs pretty hot compared to Scar II, but thankfully it's possible to lower the temperatures by undervolting the CPU and playing with max fan speed. It has also outdated I/O and don't expect the parts to be as good as in Scar II. However, it costs only $999, so I can forgive these downsides, especially that the performance is still good. Nonetheless, I encourage you to check out the new generation, the 2019 Helios 300, which is slightly more expensive but much more improved. I'm going to review it as soon as it's available in the UK, so stay tuned. Alright, that's all for today, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in comments. If you're new to the channel, it would be awesome if you consider subscribing Tech Finds. On my channel you can find detailed laptop reviews, laptop comparisons, gaming benchmarks and more. Now thanks for your time and see you in the next video.